Hey, kia ora. Helen Brown's here coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. I was thinking of saying what day it was, but I figured, nah, you could be watching it on a completely different day, and then that's a mute point. So have a super fantastic, sparkling day. Anyway, I am the CEO and co-founder of Before the Dirt Nap Corporation. So welcome to our podcast, to the Before the Dirt Nap podcast, where we help you live your best life now. And we do that through education. We're bringing you lots of really good things. I just booked an awesome speaker today. Yes. And I can't remember what day she's coming. I think it's next week. Pretty sure it's next week. Hang on. Pretty sure I have it next week. Yes, I do. So I have a speaker for you guys next Tuesday. And I have another speaker for you the next day. And I've just totally, yeah. So if you're around on August the 9th and around on August the 10th of 2022, we've got two amazing speakers back-to-back nights. It is going to be amazing. I was super excited to get both of these ladies booked. I'm working on some others, and we'll be bringing, and as the dates start approaching, you'll start seeing the scheduled podcasts being put out there, so that you can get the reminders and everything to make sure that you don't miss these amazing people that we are going to be bringing you. And we're going to be bringing you people in all walks of life, in health, in fitness, in investing, in long-term investing, so like legacy wealth, financial planning, brains going and got brain fried, life coaches, business coaches. We have a slew of people that, I'm very blessed with the network that I have. I have some really cool networks that I belong to, and there are just amazing people in there. And I actually got to have a really cool conversation a couple of days ago with somebody who's based in Roatan. It was like 30 minutes went like that. This finger works, this one doesn't. So, but anyway, I had a really great conversation with somebody who lives in Roatan, and I'm thinking, she might be a potential. We'll see. But I'm always meeting great, but even fashion. Yeah, fashion. I sit here in t-shirts. I'm either got a t-shirt on that's just a plain colored, sometimes there's graphics, or I got the sparkle ones on. And so, I like my t-shirts. I'm comfortable in t-shirts and stretchy pants, whether they are yoga pants, whether they're stretchy jeans, whether they are, I'm just comfortable in clothing that stretches. I guess that's one reason I didn't last long in the Air Force. I lasted 6 years in the Royal New Zealand Air Force, because they had nothing that stretched. We had cotton shirts, we had to iron, we had to wear ties. We had these A-line skirts or pants, and they didn't have a lot of stretch in them. And the first thing I would do when I got back to barracks, immediately got changed into sweatpants and t-shirts. Or stretchy jeans and t-shirts. All my jeans had stretch to them. Yeah, I'm just comfortable in stretchy clothing. So I'm always on the lookout for some really nice stretchy clothing, so I can look a little more business-like, look a little more CEO-like, I guess. But, this is Before the Dirt Nap. It is living your best life now. I'm just putting it out there. Anyway, so today's topic we're going to be talking about is things like goal setting, or goals, dreams, mind mapping, making lists, vision boards. What else have I got down here? Journaling, and different tools that we can use to help inspire us. And this is one of my favorite things to do when I am out and about. And it's one of the things I like doing with our mystery car drives that Zeph and I do every Sunday, or most not every Sunday, most Sundays. When we go on our car drives and things, it's looking around the neighborhoods. It's looking to see, how people decorate their front yards, curb appeal, that sort of thing. The looks of their houses. I already know, and I've got to tell you this. I have had a dream for years to have a log cabin by a lake. I can describe the outside to you, no problem at all. But when it came to the inside, I had no clue. I knew I wanted the master bedroom downstairs. I did want a loft. And I wanted an open plan kitchen, dining room, but I just didn't know how I knew what I wanted in there. I just didn't know how it all the pieces fitted together. And so every now and again, I'll go buy a log cabin magazine and all of that sort of stuff. And I got one about a month ago now, I think it was. I picked up a log cabin magazine and I'm just flipping through it, and all of a sudden I stopped, and you get that little tingle that starts at the base of your spine and just comes up, and you get chills going down your arms, and you get that little tingle coming up the spine, and all of a sudden your head is tingling and all that. There was my cabin. There was an actual picture of the outside of my cabin. I have seen lots of pictures, kind of sort of like what I wanted, yeah, a little bit, but we're going to need to tweak this, we're going to need to tweak that to make it look right. Nah, this one didn't. The only thing that I need to do to the outside of this cabin is make the porch a little deeper. It's got a full 360-degree porch that goes all the way around. 360 degrees of this house. It's got a porch that goes all the way, which is what I wanted, a completely wrapped around porch. And it's all open air porch, but I want it to be at minimum 10 feet deep. The one on the plan is 8 foot deep. And I thought, okay, we just need to add a couple more feet, maybe 4 more feet. I want 10 to 12 feet of porch space, because I want to create a place where you can sit outside no matter what the weather is and have conversations. One of my favorite things to do is to sit outside under shelter, of course, in a thunderstorm, and just watch it. I'm just crazy. I love being outside in nature, and having a big, deep porch on the front of my log cabin would help me to do that. I could go and have these little conversation areas around different areas of the porch based on the view and everything else. And I can go and I can sit out there, first thing in the morning and watch the sun come up over the mountains that are across the lake, and listen to the world wake up. And I could be out there snuggled into a blanket and, a couple of blankets or something, especially in wintertime if there's snow on the ground, have Ugg boots on, something that will keep the tootsies warm, and just sit there and drink a cup of tea and watch the world wake up and have my quiet time. Or in the evening, sitting out there again, and you're watching the sunset play on the mountains that are in the east, or across the lake from you, and you watch the sun play on the mountains as it's setting behind you. That's a dream. It's been a dream of mine for a very, very long time, and I finally found a picture of the outside of the cabin, and I found the plan. I was like, this is perfect, because I was trying to figure out where would I put my office, and it doesn't matter. There's the master suite over here. On the opposite side of the living area, there's a bedroom that can be turned into an office. There's a big great room area that's open up, and then up top there's a loft area. Okay, they've got a couple of bedrooms up there, so one of them will be turned into one bedroom up there, and then a big open space, because when I have the grandkids come and stay, I want them to be able to just pull out like futons and stuff, throw them down on the thing, crawl into their sleeping bags, and they're asleep. We don't have to worry about beds. They just sleep in sleeping bags on mattresses on the floor. And there's a bathroom up there as well. So that's my dream. So, and it was going. So it was. Yes, this plan is perfect. I just got to knock a wall down and take out a bedroom upstairs. And so I was super, super excited about this. And that was just one of my things. And it's always been there. It's always been written on my list, on my mind map, to have this log cabin. But I got to thinking about, if we want to live our best life now, how do we know what our best life now is if we haven't got it written down in some form? And this could be like me. I get a big roll of craft paper. I've got a big bag of permanent markers, all in different colors, and it's a big bunch of, I just have this case that I turned into a pen holder, and it's just full of about 30 or 40 different colored markers in there. And I pull out my art paper, and I just start mind mapping on this thing. And there's times when I've been to my mastermind group when we were doing in person, and this is back at the beginning, about in 2014, and I would show up with my mind map under my arm in rolls, and we would unroll on the paper, and we would use duct tape on each end to hold it flat on the floor while I explained everything. But then my mentor Casey got me to zoom out from here's my genealogy business, here's my travel business, let's zoom out. So I did that, and it got a little large. But I also use online. I use a mind mapping program that's available online. It's stored in the cloud and everything else. And you just go in there and you just type it in, and you can add all the bits and pieces. And the cool part is that because it got so big, I could have my main piece in the middle, and then all my little my pieces of the pie that are around the outside, I could actually take what was after that piece. So you've got the main corporation, and then you've got the different business entities and ideas around it. And then for the tree that goes out from the side of it, for the mapping that goes out from the side of it, I have taken that and made it into a separate mind map with a link back to the master one. So the master one has the links that go through to the tree, to the mind maps for each pocket of those ideas and things. I absolutely love it because I go in there and I'm like, oh, let's go have a look in this one today. And I will just be in there and I'm like, yep, that works. Yep, that works. I know we're going to change this one. And I can go in and I can make a quick change. I am a huge believer in pen and paper. People are like, pen and paper, but you could just type. You're good at typing. I'm like, yes, but the ideas in my head come out better if I can write. And there is actually scientific proof that your memory is better. Your goals are, your dreams and your goals and that become more clearer when you connect a pen or a pencil, a writing instrument, with paper. And I'm sort of like, I'm doing fine then. And I mean, I've got, just sitting next to me, I've got this journal, there's this journal. Oh, hang on, I've got my favorite one right here. There's this journal. This one's cool. I mean, look at the paper on this one. This is really cool. And it's got this really cool buckle. Oops, I got my hair tangled up in it. You guys don't need to see my hair tangled up in that. If I can figure out how to. But see, it's got this really cool latch on it. Oh, here's another journal. Here's another one. And these are all active journals. They're all there for different, they've got different purposes. And then I have this one. So as you can see, there's a variety of different, oh, hang on. And then we go down here and we've got more journals down here. Yeah, I have journals all over the place. I have a box in storage that is full of journals that are just literally full of ideas and things. I've got a backpack, a day pack that I carry with me when I'm out for a while. It has a journal in there for jotting down ideas and things. I have pen and paper everywhere. There's spiral bound, there's hard bound, there's ones that lay flat, there's really cool ones like the one with the textured paper. It's actually all unlined. It's actually unlined paper. And it's really cool because I can get to do all sorts of things in here. I get to draw in here. I get to put some of my favorite Bible verses in here. Just ideas. Where's one? I got a little artsy one day. And it works well with, I've used fountain pens in here. I've used rollable, normal writing pens in there. I've used colored pencils. So this one's actually a pretty cool one for that. And I just get in there, and it's my doodling happy journal. That's where I keep my favorite things. So if I'm feeling a bit down, I can go to my happy journal. And everybody needs a happy journal. Oh my gosh, everybody needs a happy journal. I don't care what it is. It could be, you could decide on a journal, on a color. If you've got a favorite color, find a journal in that color and just call it your happy journal. And in there you put funny quotes that make you feel better, quotes that inspire you, funny antidotes. And if you read magazines and stuff that have like little cartoon strips, and a cartoon strip hits you funny, cut it out and stick it in there. So when you're feeling down, you can go to this journal. Oh, excuse me. And there's all these thoughts and ideas in there that will help lift your spirit and make you feel better. And I'm totally getting off track, but that's okay. It's my show. I can do what I like. I have the microphone. So, there's all sorts of things that you can do to help lift. And that's one of the things that I have. So when I'm feeling really down, I have music. I have a playlist that I put on, which is sort of like upbeat, pick me up music. I have my happy journal I can go to, and I can see the different cartoons in there. I can read the funny quotes. I can read the inspiring stuff, all stuff that helps make me feel better and lift me up. And it's actually also helped a lot with grief as well. So not only if I'm feeling down, usually when I'm feeling down, it's because it's some grief process I'm going through. I tell you, grief sucks. Those that have passed on, they got it easy. We're the ones that are left behind. The brain's accepted it, the body's still catching up. The body seems to remember longer and react and take a longer time to react, is what I've been told. But then you come across widow's brain, and I'm like, widow's what? And they're like, widow's brain. I'm like, what's that? They say, oh, you get a little fuzzy every now and again, and you forget things, or you say stupid things, and you don't really think clearly and all that. And I'm like, oh, I just thought that was because I was tired. So there's that as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel like Brad when he told the nurse that he was blonde and chemo-brained. Yes, she thought that was absolutely hilarious. And she was like this close to accessing his Metaport for his chemo treatment. She had the needle this close to his access port, which was in his upper chest up here. And he said, and he made some comment. She kind of like stopped and looked at him really strange. He goes, "What can I say? I'm blonde and chemo brain." And she whipped that back straight away. Like she wasn't going anywhere near that while she was laughing. And I'm like, I am so glad that she had the reaction to go like this rather than like this, because that could have hurt a lot. And she could have also ended up missing the Metaport as well, which was a whole nother thing that they would have had to gone through. But yeah, so keep a happy journal. Make a happy journal. Something that you can go to. Put funny pictures in there. You can get all sorts of really cool little printer thingies to print off little pictures and things and that sort of stuff. But get the stuff out of your head, because if it's still in your head, you're not going to be able to take action on it. It's when it is written down, it becomes more actionable because you're now committed to it. And I know people are going to go, I'm committed. Yeah, get over it. Life is short. Some people have a shorter lifespan than others. Others get to live a very long, fulfilled life. And do you want to arrive at the end of your journey here on this beautiful planet and just go, yep, wish I'd done that, wish I'd done that, wish I'd done that? Or do you just want to slide in at the end and go, wow, what a ride? That's how I want to go. Sliding at the end, going, wow, what a ride. But looking at different ways that you can journal, you can get the dreams down, get the goals down. I once had a client who, this was, a synchronicity. I love synchronicity, about how everything happens for a reason. I don't believe things that happen by chance. They happen for a reason. You may not know what that reason is at the time, but later on you find out what that reason is. And I happened to find this group that played the cash flow game that was done by Robert Kiyosaki, based on his book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And we're sitting there one night, and it was in an industrial area in Virginia, and we're sitting there one night, and there was this lady sitting across from me, and we introduced ourselves, and we got asking what we each did, and it turns out she was a realtor, and I was realtor, and because I was in the travel professional, and Brad and I were talking about selling the house the following year, and this was in September, and we were looking at selling the house the following year, and her and I had been having a great conversation all evening. We finally got around to, what do you do? while we're playing this game. And she was looking, and she had just started this goal setting class. And their first assignment was to take the first step towards achieving that goal. And her goal was the following year in October, her and her husband were celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary. And so they wanted to do something special, and they were looking at going on a cruise for their wedding anniversary, and they'd never been on a cruise before. And so it just worked out really well. She ended up selling our house. She is an amazing, amazing realtor. We put my house on the market on Friday. Saturday morning, we had an offer. We had the open home on Sunday. We had another offer come through from that. And Monday, we made the decision as which offer we were accepting. So it was that quick. But she also came over to our house and walked through it, and we told what we were thinking of doing in order to prepare the house for market. And she was going, nope, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But you might want to do this or this. Yes, definitely do that one. And she went through the list that we had and told us what would be good to do and what would be not, don't waste the money on doing this. You're not going to get the money back on it. She said, all you need to do is just clean this a little bit and it'll be good. And so I was like, okay. I did have to cover up my raspberry red fireplace, and it was pink. The raspberry red was very raspberry and very pink. And when Brad first saw it, I got bored one day, and I was looking at this white wall, and on the white wall we had built-in bookcases on either side of a panel that had the fireplace in the center in the middle of it, and above it had the mantelpiece, and then it had a niche um, going off the mantelpiece. And I was looking at that one day. I'm sick of looking at this white walls, white fireplace, and it was just a builder's black slate fireplace. So it wasn't anything fancy. And so I went down to Home Depot and okay, I need a bright color. I want the brightest color I can find. And I came home with this raspberry red. And actually, no, I actually think I have something that was close. I'm just looking at my colored pens here. Oh, actually, this was probably about as close as to the colors. It was a little more redder than this, but it was, as you can see, it was bright. But it was just a little more redder, had a little more red in than this has. But that's about as close as I've got here, just to my immediate area. If I went hunting, I could definitely find a marker of that color. So it was bright. And all I did is I painted the center panel, which was the niche, the mantelpiece, and the piece on either side of it. I did not touch the bookcases, so they were left white. But I tell you what, the fireplace popped out. It was black slate. It popped a little bit, and the whole color just popped. And when Brad came home, I met him at the door like I usually do. And of course, I had not gone with eggshell. I went with gloss, high gloss. I think it was high gloss. It was a glossy paint anyway. It was shiny. And I spent ages just painting this center panel thing and hoping like heck it would be dry by the time Brad got home. Fortunately it was, because I did it early in the morning after he'd gone to work. And he comes home and I met him at the door like I usually do. And he goes, "Oh, how was your day?" I go, "Fine." And he looks at me and he goes, "What did you do? Promise not to get mad?" He goes, "Well, it depends on what you did." And I said, "Well, I got a little bored of white." And we hadn't been in the house that long. And it was just built as white. That's all it was. The whole house, because it was a brand new build. And he goes, "What did you do?" And so I said, "It's turned out a little brighter than I thought it would." And he's got, I don't know what he had going through his head. But he walks out of the laundry. And when you walk out of the laundry door, you turn left and there was the fireplace, because it came into our breakfast area, and we had the breakfast area here and the family room here, and it was at the end of the family room. And he looked at it and he just stood there and looked at it. I go, "Well, what do you think?" And he just stood there and he goes, like deadpan face, no expression on his face whatsoever. And he just goes, I said, "Well, I got bored of the white." So for years we had this raspberry red thing, and when it came time to moving, to selling the house, Leanne was like, "That's got to go." I'm like, "Okay." I kind of figured that. But by that stage, we had painted the rest of the room as well, so it wasn't as bold and bright as it had been. We had painted the bookcases, we had painted the rest of the room, but she says, "Yeah, no, that's got to go." But yeah, so it was really good. And so she was able to help us sell our house, and we were able to help her go on her wedding. Her and her husband go on their 25th wedding anniversary cruise, and they ended up having an amazing 25th wedding anniversary in Venice, because the ship was overnighting in Venice, Italy, and so they had an incredible time there. And I was actually in LA by that point, and so I called them after they got back to see it, and she said, "Oh my gosh," she says, "we ate so much." And she says, and we had also given them, as part of their anniversary gift, they had these like chef table nights, and so we had got that for them. And the night that they chose happened to be the champagne night, and it was a pairing. So you had the courses with a different wine each course. They had different champagne. They had champagne for every course. She said we got to course 4, and there were still 5 more courses to come. And she says we were full. And I said, "Did you at least taste what was coming?" She says, "Yeah." And she said, "The portions weren't that big," but she says, "Man," she says, there was a lot of champagne. There was a lot of food. But she said it was more like a tasting thing. But it took them, she said we were sitting there for like 3 hours or something. I think it was like 3 hours they were sitting there, and they had this 9-course meal. And she said by the time we got to course 4, we were almost bursting. So, but they greatly appreciate it. And then what was really cool was that when they came back on board the ship on their anniversary, and the crew had done an amazing job in their cabin. They had put rose petals all over the bed. They had the they had made swans out of towels and had them so their beaks were touching, and they had a rose petal sitting on their beaks. And on a side table, they had a cake with a bottle of champagne and a handwritten note from the captain of the ship wishing them, and then they had the china and the silverware there so they could enjoy their cake and wishing them a happy 25th wedding anniversary. I thought that is so cool. So that was just her taking one step towards her goal. She had this goal of going on a trip for her 25th wedding anniversary. And because of this course, she took her first step was like, I need to find out. And I'll tell you what, within a week of our conversation, she was booked on the cruise. They were booked. So I'm sort of like, what did you do for the rest of the course? So then she had to start on another goal because that goal was done. It was already planned. Everything was in place. They were ready to go. Their goal then was sort of like preparing for the cruise. What clothes are we going to take? Making sure passports were updated, all that sort of stuff. So, when you write things down and you start talking about it with people, things start to happen. They really do. So we talk about, so you can do things by making a list, grabbing a journal, making a list. Some people prefer to lists. I prefer to mind map. And then you can put them into digital form if you want, or leave them in paper form. But get those dreams out of your head and get them written down. And everybody has a deep down goal or dream that they want that they are too afraid to bring out because they're not sure if they will accomplish it. I will tell you this, doing that big, large mind map that I ended up doing, I looked at it at the end and I was sort of like, well, this is pretty, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, this is pretty doable. Yeah, we could do this. Whereas if Casey had told me to do that like 3 years ago, it wouldn't be anywhere near the size it was today. And I would have been like, there's no way this is going to happen. But I look at this thing almost on a daily basis. I go to my mind map and play around in that. And I'm like, we can do this. What's one step I can do today towards accomplishing one of the goals that are on this mind map, or doing one step towards it? This, launching the business was like the biggest one. And I'm sort of like, okay. So coming up to our call on Sunday for our 1096 show, which was our 3-year mark, it was like, okay, I'm going to make the announcement because unless we get this business up and running, nothing else is going to happen because everything's under this business. And so that was the reason behind why we came out with the announcement that we were launching on August the 1st, launching before the Dirt Nap Corporation, because you need to have that. Now I've got it. I'm the CEO and founder of the Dirt Nap Corporation. Now I've got to sort of like, oh crap, I now have a corporation. What am I going to do? Well, we need to start playing around. It's like back in April of 2020, I got challenged to do a dirty launch on the genealogy business because that was something I was looking at doing. And they challenged me. That was on the Saturday. They said, by Friday, could you have a Google form up that people could fill out? And this was going to be the dirty launch. She said, don't need a website, don't need a name or anything else, just a form. I said, yeah, I can have that up. That was done by Wednesday. By Friday, we had a domain, we had a website up and running. We had a pricing structure in there. The only thing we didn't have was a logo, which we didn't add until December. And that was April through to December. We didn't get the logo. You don't need to have every little thing in place before you start. You just need to start. So you need to decide, where am I going to start? And with the journaling coming in, it's journal your journey. And it could be something as simple as taking your phone and doing daily voice recordings in there, or getting something like this little recorder and keeping it with you so that you can just turn it on, hit a record button and talk into it if you don't want to use your phone for that. It could be something of doing a podcast, getting on here. I mean, that's what I've done for the last 3 years. I've journaled basically these videos for the last 1096 videos have all been about my life. It's been me discovering myself, going through the ups and downs, going through the challenges of, 1, being a widow, 2, traveling around the country by myself in an RV, 32-foot Class A RV, with a dog. They all got to meet the dog when I got to meet Zeffy when I got her, and so it was setting that goal. And the goal of getting the RV is a dream that Brad and I had always had, and we never got around. We had been looking, we'd gone looking in yard and around different RV sales yards and all of that to get an idea of what we liked and what we didn't like, and had never made the commitment. But when it came to 2018, I'm sitting there. It was March 15th, 2018, and I'm sitting there in the living room, and I knew I had a year left, just over a year left on the lease on the house that we were in, because we were renting the house that we were in. And we knew that they weren't going to renew the lease. So I'm sitting there, and Brad had passed the previous September, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking all around and I'm looking at the stuff that's in the living room, and suddenly it hit me. It's like, I have to move in a year. I have to find somewhere to live. Where am I going to live? I don't want to live in an apartment because that's just boxes and boxes, and I don't like living in boxes. Oh, and I suddenly had all these thoughts going through my head. Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? And everything just started snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And I could feel the blood pressure rising. You could literally feel it. It was that intense. And all of a sudden, this voice says, screw it. I'm going to sell everything, go live in an RV. And I'm like, look behind the recliner I was sitting in, looked at the other side and looking all around and go, well, who the hell said that? And then I looked around again and went, oh, that was me. Oh, that's not such a stupid idea. And so I pulled out my laptop. I looked up, I went RV shows in San Diego. That's where we were at the time. And there was one that had actually started that day down at the old Qualcomm Stadium. And it started that day and it goes through the weekend. And Saturday was St. Paddy's Day. And I thought, perfect. I'll put my green shirt on St. Paddy's Day and we'll go RV hunting. And that's exactly what I did and started that process. And then that was March 17th when I actually went and physically looked at RVs. I got the idea on the 15th. On the 17th, I was looking. May 4th, the following year in 2019, I purchased Sparkles. And I haven't looked back since. We've driven over 12,000 miles in Sparkles around the US, different states. We've still got a lot we've got to go visit. But one of my dreams is to visit all 50 states. So I've done Alaska, I've done Hawaii. Now I'm working on the 48. I have not done Alaska and Hawaii in the RV. Hawaii will not happen in the RV. Alaska, maybe. I don't know. Depends how adventurous I get. But I have a very good friend that I met when I was locked in, when we were locked down in Florida for 9 weeks. I met her at the campground, and she was telling me about the trip that they did to in Alaska, and I was sort of like, that's doable. We can do that one day, just not now, but we can do that. So it's on the list. And when you get you get this list, and it's like, oh, I've got all these things. Where am I going to start? Just make a decision that you're going to start, and take one thing and start doing one step towards it. That's all you have to do, is take that first step. And the first step is always the hardest. And as this old saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get from the base of a mountain to the top? One step at a time. And that's all. Don't look at the top of the mountain. Look at the steps that you go along the way. I'm on this step. What's the next step? Done that step. What's the next step? And that's how you go about achieving your goals. It's just one step at a time. But you have to have them written down, because goals without a deadline are just dreams. So get them written down, get journaling, and find a way to journal your journey. You don't have to put it out there in public. It could be just for you. You could do video vlogs. You could do that. But you've got to get it written down. You've got to get those dreams written down. Then start looking through magazines, looking through books for ideas. What else did I have down there? Magazines, books, taking courses. It could be that you want to get a certification in some area. So start looking at the classes. That's your first step. Go check out the classes. I'm wanting to get board certified for genealogy. What's the first step? Figuring out what I got to do. Already got that sorted out. Now the next step is putting the plan together, because you got to put a plan together, because the board certification requires a lot of research. So you got to put the plan, get my question, get my theory, and then start to prove or disprove it, and start doing the research paper towards it and all of that sort of thing. So there are create dream boards, find the pictures, whether the pictures are online and you print them off to put them on your dream board. There are virtual dream boards out there, but this is just me, because I'm like touchy-feely stuff. I like to cut out the pictures and stick them. I actually have a dream journal and stick them in my dream journal rather than, oh, that's a really cool picture, click, move over here, drop. There's no connection to the brain. But if I sit there and I have to cut out the picture and stick it in the journal and write something underneath it, that sticks in the brain a lot easier, becomes more real in a way. So it is important that you get the stuff written down. If you're looking at doing travel, where do you want to go? What are your top 5 destinations that you want to go to? Once you have your top 5 destinations, go to the link in the comment, in the description down below that says Before the Dirt Nap Adventures. Click on that link, fill out the form, and that form will put you into our mailing list. And the only time you'll get emailed is when we are getting ready to release, when we've got a new package together that we are releasing, and you and anybody on that list will get it 48 hours in advance of us putting it on a website. So we will send you the information of what the trip's going to involve. You have 48 hours before we put it out on the website for everybody else to purchase it. So it pays to be on the list, because that's the only time that is when we have something to launch or something that we're bringing you, that'll be the only time that we will email you with that information. You're not going to get spammed. I hate spam. So I hate the spam mails. If you want to, so that's the Before Your Dirt Nap adventures. If you want some Before the Dirt Nap ideas, there's a link in the description below to a really cool book that has lots of different ideas in it, from everything from sitting on a beach, putting your feet up, to climbing a mountain, and everything in between, from slow pace to fast pace, from low adrenaline to high adrenaline. It covers everything for everybody. Another one that's in there is, if you want to learn something new, go click on Before the Dirt Nap Education. It will take you to a online college where you can do virtual courses and get certifications on them. I'm working through a couple right now. My favorite thing is that I love my essential oils, and but I want to learn more about them. So I'm actually taking in a class on essential oils, what they do, how they help with the health, how they help with the physical environment within the home, how they can create that atmosphere through the diffusers on creating the right atmosphere for learning, for relaxing, for sleeping, for energy, that sort of thing. And then we've got, there's a link in there for the mind mapping program that I use as well. Legacy Wealth is all about collecting silver. It's awesome. They just released one that's only up till I think midnight on Friday, and that's one of the new Star Wars ones. And that's on my Facebook page if you want to go check it out, or on my LinkedIn page as well. So just check them out. Once in a Lifetime Adventures, that link at the very bottom there is one that you want to go to for the mailing list for the Before the Dirt Nap Adventures, which are once in a lifetime, never to be repeated itineraries. Now, I have to go because I've got to go get on a Zoom. So have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. I'm looking to see what time. Tomorrow, hang on, I need today. So tomorrow we can actually be on at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So we will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, have a super fantastic, sparkling day. Write out your lists, mind map them, list them, however it is that you make a list of ideas of things that you want to see, do, experience, so that you can live your best life now. And then let's start figuring out what's the first step and get you taking that first step. Have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. He konera.